so much for coming. It's really important to have a lot of people part of this process, so you took time out of your day, and we really, really appreciate it. My name's Ann Darby. I'm the Planning Department Manager for Summit Design and Engineering. We're contracted with the town to complete your comprehensive plan. We come in as subject matter experts, but you are the experts on Front Royal. So again, to reiterate, thanks for coming. This is really important. Some basics, you probably already know this since you're here, but in case somebody doesn't or is wondering, what is a comprehensive plan? Why do we do it? Why is this important? So a comprehensive plan is a guiding document. It's used to envision what the future of the town will look like, mostly in the built environment, but there are some other aspects as well. So what do we envision Front Royal to be like in 20 or 25 years? It's, and again, it gives a goal and a vision for the locality. It helps people get behind that vision, and then it helps the town figure out how to prioritize funding and projects in the future. And it might cover some of these, or it will cover all of these areas, including identity, transportation, land use, community engagement, housing, parks and open space, undeveloped land usage, economic development, and goals and visions for the future. It's important to update the comprehensive plan. The last Front Royal comprehensive plan was adopted about 25 years ago, and a ton has changed in that time. The Code of Virginia requires that all localities at least evaluate their comprehensive plan every 5 years to see if it needs to be updated, and then we're updating it now for the first time in 25 years. And it needs to be a relevant document. It needs to reflect who you are now as a town and where you want to go. And in order to do that, in order to plan for the future, you have to have a good benchmark for where you are right now. So in order to make the plan, we're most of the way through the process at this point. We started, so I'm going to confuse you if I say something different than what's on the slide, right? But in a nutshell, planning is very simple. You establish exactly where you are as a locality, as a community, and that's a lot of data, that's a lot of maps. It says, you know, this is where we are, this is our land use, this is how we've grown over the last decades at this point. And then we decide where we want to be, and the plan has the steps to get from here to there. So it's a little bit more complicated in reality, but it's a process of trying to use both data and community input and best planning practices to figure out where we need to go. We've already had a kickoff open house where some of you joined us at the pavilion. It was very cold and dark. It was high COVID, and we're trying to keep everyone safe. Thank you for the people who came there. We've created a website just for the plan that has social media outreach. We've had a ton of input on the website, just comments, people giving their vision statement, people adding information to an online, to an interactive map. And then we had a lot of people respond to a survey. That was, there was a survey summary. I'll have a photo image in a second. There's a survey summary that's also been posted online so you can see what your fellow community members have been saying. Now we're having the charrette and open house, and there will also be chances for public input at Planning Commission and Town Council meetings. So far, as I said, we've created this website. I'm sure a lot of you have been to it. With the interactive map, there was a vision statement. The QR code, you'll see this QR code on all of these large format maps, and you've probably seen little business cards that we've handed around. There have been a lot of stores downtown. And that just gives a person the ability to just go to the website from their phone for quick access for the survey or anything like that. Again, we put out the survey summary. It told a lot. It's really guided a lot of where we've been going in the next steps of the plan, so people's input for that. That's still on the website. Again, scan the QR code or the web address is there too. Survey results, again, that just guides us. 1,500 people, or just above 1,500 people have viewed it. 469 people participated in the survey. We've had almost 20,000 responses. That's individual responses, not people, but still that's a lot of people giving a lot of input about what you want Front Royal to be like in the future. 458 separate comments, again, what's working now, what you love about Front Royal, what's not working, what we need to change in the future. And 293 people have signed up to say, I want to be, you're probably a lot of them, signed up to say, I want to be part of this process, here's my email address, please keep me informed. If you did that, you may have gotten an email blast telling you about these meetings, and then maybe that's why you're here. So we put out an existing conditions, yes?
The response rate, how does that rank? Is that about what you expected? Was it higher, lower?
It's higher. I will be honest with you that the hardest part of a comprehensive planning process or any planning process is getting people to engage, and so that's been a really high rate of participation, and people have had. We've been really impressed by the positive comments. I mean, people have gone on to say, I don't like this about town, I want this to change. There's a lot to love about Front Royal, and people are very vocal about that. So it's a good response rate, and we've been really happy with the amount of feedback that we've been getting. So you may have also seen this existing conditions report, and that is really a compilation of all the data that goes into the plan. So again, we like to talk a lot about people have subjective experiences of their own place where they live, their own community, because you have your community where you go to work or church or where you live, and so the data really helps us balance that and understand all of the people who are living here, not just from a couple people's subjective experience. The next product that's also on the website that we got feedback on both from the public on the website, from Planning Commission and from Town Council, was the draft vision, goals, and objectives. So from all of this information, we created another document. We do like to create a document at every stage so that you see that progress is being made and you can give consistent feedback. So we have a draft vision. All right. It's still open for comment, but the Planning Commission has given its blessing to this vision statement. And again, that's broken down into all of these little steps. So going back to the comprehensive plan is exactly where we are today and where we want to be in 20, 25 years. All of the little teeny steps together are how we get there. So if you have looked through that and given feedback, thank you. If you haven't, please do go through if you're interested. It's also on the website. So what we're here today to discuss in particular is the draft future land use and development policies. So this also is really, I like to say often that if the comprehensive plan is a wheel that gets us going, the hub of it is the future land use map. So that is, we have a series of categories that are a description of what an area might look like in the future. And there you have color-coded maps. You have them in front of you by area, and it's up right here as the whole town. And you can read the descriptions and see the color on the map and see if that fits with what you think the future might look like. I think a couple of things that are really important to keep in mind is that growth will happen. A lot of people just say, no, I like my town as it is, I don't want it to grow. Very understandable, but growth will happen. So the question is, your power comes in, is what do you want that growth to look like? Not do I want it to grow or not, but where is it appropriate to have the most density, more housing? What do we need? And then, in addition to future land use, okay, this is redundant to what I'm saying. So in addition to future land use, we also have a map about existing transit, which is Valley Rapid Transit, and then we need, Valley Regional Transit, and we need to have feedback here. Mike Sochi is here to get your feedback. He'll be standing with this map and get your feedback in particular. That will be a part of the comp plan, but I think also inform VRT's future decision making. So this is a great joint opportunity. The map you see here is bicycle and pedestrian improvements, and all of this is an exercise. We want you to draw on the map. We want you to use the sticky notes or their Sharpies all around. And really give feedback of this trail seems like a terrible idea, or we're missing one here, or I love this idea, please make sure to keep this in the map. All of these are proposed trails, and it's just, and remember, all of this is a draft. This is all to throw something out there and get your feedback. The last map here is a road improvements exercise, and this is really important. You will see that there are two VDOT, a yellow line and a green line, that are two VDOT projects that they're aware of that funding is going to. Other than that, we need to figure out how to elevate what the town needs, that what you all know from your experience, to put it in the comprehensive plan, get it to the region, and get it to, I can explain this process, but the funding process needs to go to the region and to the state for money to come back down. So it's really important that if there are issues, if there's an intersection that doesn't make any sense, if there's an area that has heavy congestion at certain times of day or all the time, please write it on the map, explain, and that will then become part of the comprehensive plan, and that's eventually how it can find state funding. So, yeah, so the small area maps, yes?
Quick question, is there an indication anywhere on the map of direction?
All of the maps are north facing.
North facing, okay,
They're all
thank you.
exactly north facing,
Perfect.
right? Yeah, we
Thank
sometimes
you.
don't indicate it as just north facing, we'll put an arrow if we
Okay.
tweak it. But again, each is an individual exercise, there are some questions to help you think through it. And then the, 11 by 17 sheets, they're broken down into planning areas to small areas. So if you just want to talk about where, your neighborhood, where you live and give feedback on that, please take one of those maps or multiple of those maps and give us feedback. I haven't, again, redundant to what I'm saying. The next steps are, we'll create the full comprehensive plan draft. We'll have more public meetings where everyone's asked to please give feedback on the draft plan. That will be edited. We'll do the edits, but we'll get feedback from Planning Commission, from Town Council, and from you and your fellow community members. And then it will be then made a recommendation by the Planning Commission to the Town Council, and the Town Council will take action on that. Next phase, we'll do a zoning and subdivision ordinance rewrite, which is great because that's actually the law that makes these land uses happen over time. So that'll be the next step. It's great. It's great to be a part of a planning process where you know that the next step immediately, it'll start to get implemented. So that's positive. And then if you have, if you want to take one of these small area maps and you want to take it home and think about it or give it to a neighbor or, give feedback, you can just take a photo of it and write your questions on it as legibly as you can, and take a photo of it and send it to this email address. And that's it. Are there questions? The rest of the time is just, we want to hear from you. We want as much notes on these maps as possible, because all of it is very, very helpful. Yes?
You mentioned VDOT projects. Does VDOT fund road improvements within the town borders, or is this plan looking beyond the town borders itself for egress and access issues?
If there's a project that, for example, is on the border of town, then, and VDOT is obviously looking statewide, but we're just talking about projects in the town as of right now. We don't have to think about projects outside the town. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
So the town can receive state dollars for projects in the town. Yes?
Yeah, some of the comments the county got back from the last time we reviewed ours. This is from Mike Chandler and the folks down at Virginia Tech, was make sure you have those goals and objectives, but also some implementation, a list of how you're going to implement those goals and objectives.
Yes.
So I didn't see that actually up there, but it's just something to think about.
Well, that's
Make sure
good. Mike
that
Chandler's a smart guy, so I listened.
yeah.
So that's what we have, goals and objectives, and then we have this future land use and development policies. And so that chapter, and if you again, you'll see all these different documents. So the goals and objectives are more like, people criticize plans and say, this is a pie in the sky plan. There's no funding. It is, it's pie in the sky, your goals and objectives. Like, we want this. And then it gets more specific.
So you'll identify each of those implementations for each of those goals and objectives.
Yes, and if you want to look at them on the website and give feedback and say, I don't think that this is specific enough, could you be more specific? We're happy to take that comment too. Yep.
Will you have a list of projects that will need to be implemented immediately, or they're absolutely necessary?
Yes, what we do is we'll put a prioritization matrix, which is a nerdy way of saying just what you said. We'll figure out exactly, for example, and there are two ways of saying that, right? One is it needs to happen immediately because cars are crashing or whatever's happening, and then we'll sort of the matrix is for weighting it. It's like this needs to happen immediately, but it costs $500 million or however an insane amount. That would maybe even have a lower priority. That's something that needs to happen immediately and cost $100,000. Does that make sense? So yes, we will put a prioritization matrix in there. More questions? Okay. please continue your conversations. Let us know if you have questions. Town staff is over here, that Lauren and Kathy, and again, Mike, to give feedback on the transit. So just have at it. Thank you for coming.